Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution. Each week we explore some of the greatest undertold stories of businesses and everyday people who are making their ultimate impact on the world through social mission. This is Social Mission Revolution, and this is your host, Andrea Putting. Welcome today to another episode of the Social Mission Revolution, and today I am here with Randa Habelrih.
We'll do that again.
Okay, so I completely lost it.
Randa Habelrih.
Habelrih, yeah.
Habelrih.
I don't know.
Like Habelrih. Habelrih.
Habelrih. Yeah, I get it right, and then it's like, phew,
And,
my mind's gone. Habelrih. Okay, let's start again. Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution, and today I'm here with Randa Habelrih, and we're going to talk about some ideas and concepts that are very close to my heart and very close to her heart today. So I'm looking forward to seeing what unfolds and being able to enjoy this conversation that you'll be sharing with us. So welcome, Randa. I'd love you to tell us a little bit about who Randa is and what you're up to into the world.
well, thank you so much for having me, Andrea. I'm really thrilled to be chatting with you today. I'm on a social mission of social inclusion. I would just like to make the world a better place for those people who are marginalised due to difference, particularly those who have communication issues, whether they have autism or other challenges. So often these people, they're alone, they find difficulty making friends, and they have even more difficulty finding employment post-school. So I'm trying to change things up, and I do it one person at a time. It's very hard to change the whole world in one go. So I try and change the world for just one person, one at a time. And the ripple effect is unbelievable because they then talk, and it just gathers momentum. The movement gathers momentum.
Yeah, and often it's that we don't know how just touching one person's life is going to make a massive difference in the long run.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I started with, sorry.
Yeah, no. Let's just start off with, if there was one thing in the world that you could fight for, what would it be?
Equal opportunity for everybody, and acceptance. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's a basic human desire to want to feel like you belong. And so many people don't feel like they belong. Too many of our young people have mental illness, depression, and it's happening at a much younger age, which is quite startling. And we need to address this before it's manifested. So we have to look at our schools, have a look at friendship programs, how people are ostracised, have a look at bullying policies or anti-bullying policies. I prefer a positive approach rather than a negative approach. So all this no way to bullying and bullying no way, all of that, it's too late. We need to encourage inclusion, acceptance and friendship from a very young age. I'm a firm believer in preventing an issue before it manifests rather than treating the symptoms, and quite often blaming the victim.
Yeah. I come from a naturopathic background, and what we are taught is continually is treat the cause, not the symptom. Yes. And I like to put that into, I think, in business, in everything that I look at, it's what's the cause, how, because that's where we need to go to solve that problem. And that's exactly what you're talking about, is finding the cause. Once there's once there's that kind of thinking and attitude, that's the wrong spot to be working. We have to go back further and find what it is that starts that in the first place.
That's right. And
Yeah.
there are different, so you have to address it at a very young age in schools, primary schools, then you have to look at it in high schools. And then, of course, you have to look at it post-school, where some people struggle to find employment and to fit into society. And that's where businesses come in as well. And it's,
Absolutely.
you know, the real buzz term is corporate social responsibility. So many businesses talk about it, but they don't actually do much about it. There's so much lip service going on, and I think that if they pay a charity or give a donation, they put that box. It's not just about giving money to a charity. It's about providing opportunities for other people than the very obvious candidates.
Yeah, and helping people to feel involved in that social mission that they're involved in, which
That's
gives them a greater sense of fulfillment in the workplace.
That's right.
And then they go home, they're happy, and they're able to share greater with their families. The children grow up in a happier environment, affects society. I could go on and on and on, as I'm sure you could too, about this same subject.
Well, purpose doesn't have to be at the expense of profit.
No.
You can make money while doing good.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. If you have a look at just the disability sector, 1 in 5 Australians has a disability. You extrapolate that out globally, that's the population of China. So if there's a company out there looking for an untapped market, there it is on a silver platter, because all of these people have parents, they have siblings, they have family. If you employ or assist or provide an opportunity for somebody with a disability, then those parents, the siblings, the other family members will become loyal to you for life. So companies are looking for untapped markets. Here it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So which means we need to get back to talk about what your social mission is in more minute detail.
I am the mother of an amazing young man with autism. He's now 22 years old. His name is Richard. And he has overcome so many challenges in his short life. He was not expected to talk or even walk, but he's surpassed all expectations. He's still, of course, on the autism spectrum. And he is my biggest blessing, my teacher, my guide. But what really frustrates me and oftentimes breaks my heart is that he experiences a lot of bullying and discrimination. He experienced it right through school. There were some horrific incidents, but even now post-school, he really would love to have a job, but there aren't many opportunities. But now we've created something for him. He's a public speaker. He goes into schools
Wonderful.
and advocates for himself and for his peers on the autism spectrum. He's got a puppet show for primary schools, and he's got a fabulous speech for high schools, quite an engaging speech. Can you imagine the power of a young man talking about bullying and talking about how he overcame it, as opposed to a teacher getting up at assembly saying, well, say no to bullying, we're a bullying-free school. It's quite powerful.
Much more powerful when it comes from that place.
Yes, and schools talk about social justice. Well, by employing this young man, they are actually practicing social justice, because they're bringing him in, they're giving him a platform, they're paying him for his time and his expertise. And I try and replicate this for other young people, because I thought, well, it worked for Richard. Let's see if we can take this wider. And I run a conference once a year. Actually, last year I did it twice. I went interstate. A conference called Autism and Me, where I give the stage over to our young people on the autism spectrum. And our youngest speaker has been 7 years old. Our oldest speaker was goes into 40s, and the range in between. And it puts the humanity behind the diagnosis, so that people see the different faces of the spectrum, and they hear about not just their struggles, but about their hopes and their dreams. And they can see for themselves that these young people have a lot to contribute. And many of these speakers have then gone on and further developed their speaking opportunities and careers. And it's just from one opportunity, one chance, one time. And I also run the Model Mates event, which happens once a year. Our young people model. They strut their stuff on the catwalk alongside professional models. And it's not just about fashion and showcasing the season's trend. It's about putting them on the most elite stage, fashion, modeling, and showing the world what they can do. And what that does, while they're being fussed over and their hair and makeup's done, these young people stand tall, and they just, they rip up that catwalk, and the confidence that it gives them stays with them for life. One mum told me that one event has had more impact on her daughter than years of psychology, speech therapy, occupational therapy. One event where they're celebrated and just allowed to shine. So I run a number of different events. That's just two of them.
Yeah, I can see how powerful that experience could be to a young person, especially when they've had that kind of life where they haven't been accepted, where they have been bullied, to be standing up on stage and to be given the full treatment, because I know how that feels to be given that whole treatment. You feel so special. So for them to have that would just be amazing.
Yes. And then at the end, I interview them on stage. So again, they have the opportunity to speak. And when they are given that opportunity, they engage. And
absolutely.
These young people are always taught, the focus is always on what they can't do. In these events, we focus on what they can do.
Yeah.
And we give them the opportunity to showcase that.
Yeah. And what I like about that too is it's really in alignment with my whole chocolate and coffee day for religious harmony, with the idea that you're opening up the opportunity for these young people to speak on stage. The people on the other who are listening, suddenly clicks in their heads that, hey, these people aren't really any different to me or to my child. We're really quite the same. We have these similarities. And once we recognize we have these similarities, then a lot of those barriers are broken down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, Richard's speech is called "I'm Just Like Everyone Else."
Wonderful. See? Perfect. That's awesome. So you talk about that social inclusion and trying to help businesses to see with the value in what they're doing about opening up opportunities for them. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Because I know, well, it's something that's certainly close to my heart and close to your heart, is about this idea of social inclusion in the workplace, in the community.
Well, companies think that when they do something good, it's a sacrifice. It's not. I encourage businesses to incorporate their purpose or their social mission into their marketing strategy. So it's not just an add-on, or what shall we do to get some sort of tax rebate. It's about making this help their bottom line. 87% of consumers will purchase a product if it has a social impact. Absolutely. That's powerful. That means they're attracted to the brand because of your alignment to what you do. 42% of shoppers would actually pay extra for a product or a service if it's going to have a positive social impact. And you can see that all around. You can see that there are products that cost more because they hurt the environment less. But can you imagine if you found your purpose and found something to align your company with, and made that a part of your advertising campaign, your social media campaign? It would have a powerful effect in attracting new customers and retaining your customers, also in retaining your employees.
Yes.
Now, millennials these days, they expect to feel good about what they do at work, and that affects. So if you gave them a reason to stay, then you have less turnover, and that of course costs you less in training and recruitment.
Yeah, and I believe there is so much value in developing a social mission, obviously social mission revolution, but within business. So for me, it's about helping them to develop that, what is in alignment with who they are, and building the community within the workplace. Because once they have that sense of purpose, then that does build the community. They do have that reason to be going to work each day. It's not like, oh, I've got to go to work today. It's instead they've got something to look forward to, that them going to work is going to help somebody else. They have that bigger picture, and we all need this bigger picture of who we are and what we can do in the world. So we're working on having a social mission. Works on so many levels, doesn't it? It really makes that big difference to a business.
That's right. So you can protect your profits, you can grow your consumer base, you can reduce your employee turnover rates. There are so many benefits. And of course you feel good, you feel like you're contributing, you're not just taking from our world. These days people want to be responsible global citizens, and this is a way to incorporate that into your everyday life, because we spend more time at work than anywhere else, and you have to feel good. Otherwise, you will look for something else to replace that. Somewhere along the line, you'll either look for another job, or you'll look for other means of satisfying that need to contribute to our world.
Yeah. And for me, it's always been, I want people to be able to go home at the end of the day and feel like their soul has been nourished in the workplace. Because if they don't, you go home, you're grumpy, you're horrible.
Yes.
How are you going to then nourish and love and support your family? You can't. It's like, well, just keep away. He's had a hard day. But yeah, we need to be able to come home and feel like we've got something, that we're being nourished by our work. That way we've got something of value to give to our families and our friends and to society. So it's just so important. Yeah. So we're going to go back to your social mission, because we're talking about all sorts of wonderful things here, and you and I will talk for ages on these subjects. How do you work with your social mission?
Well,
how does it develop?
I have a registered charity now. It's called Autism Mates, and that's new. That was registered earlier this year. I've always come from a position of positivity and empowerment, and all my events, anything I speak about is not pity seeking. It's about empowerment. Whether I'm empowering our young people or I'm empowering businesses to do better and to embrace their passion and their social cause. So it's always about empowerment. Now, with Autism Mates, we do run all these events. I have a long-term vision of establishing employment centres in the form of cafes called the Mates Cafe, whereby we train our young people post-school, and those who can take their hospitality skills out into the open workplace, well, that's fabulous. And those who can't, they can stay in this safe environment, but we would require community support to come and have their meetings and their coffee catch-ups at these cafes. But this is just the beginning. I'm on a fundraising mission at the moment, but at the same time I have my awareness campaigns and my educational campaigns and my events for our young people. So there's lots of balls being juggled in the air, and that's the big picture, basically.
Yeah, so keep you nice and busy.
Yes.
But when you're having an impact, your soul is nourished, and and it helps you to keep going, because it does energize you when you're doing something that is your passion, that you can put your heart into.
And when I see these young people grow, I had one young fellow. He was 11 last year. Speak at my event for the first time. He was quite reserved and shy, and he read his speech. This year, I had him sitting on a couch being interviewed by our new ambassador, Mates ambassador, Joe Casamento. He stole the show. He was just chatting, and he took over, and he's launched his own business called Carlito's Homemade Soaps. I sent him off to speak at a university to some fourth-year education students. So that's just from one opportunity, just watching the growth. Another young man, he was also 11 last year, first time, same thing, he was quite nervous, and he this year started high school, and he ran for the Student Representative Council, and he was elected on the SRC, not as a special needs representative, but just as a student representative. That's amazing. Those things wouldn't happen if their confidence wasn't nurtured and developed. We've got Richard speaking in school after school, giving his puppet show. He was a closing keynote speaker at a major conference last year. We've got amazing stories, and they're replicated every year because of this. And watching that growth just energizes me and fills me with absolute joy, and it just reinforces the fact that I need to do this on a bigger scale, not just affect a handful of people, but we do it one person at a time, and the events grow every year, so the ripple effect becomes bigger.
Yeah. And as you give, each child has that opportunity to gain just a little bit of confidence.
Yes.
Some kids just run with it, don't they? That's it. That was enough to get them up there and go, right, okay, I can do this. And then they just take the whole thing on board and run with it, which is amazing.
It is amazing. And now it's time for others to get involved, because it has to go nationally and eventually globally. So I've been inviting other Westfield centres to embrace Model Mates. We took Autism and Me, the speaking event, to Brisbane last year, and they want it back again this year. I've had requests from people in Melbourne to run the event. So we will be running more and more events, just time permitting, really. And that's why I just need people to believe in the events and to help get the word out.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, it's a great message. It's a great thing here that you're doing. I really do appreciate it and love it, because I know that you are making an incredible difference in these young people's lives. And then that just makes, so, like you said, the ripple effect just keeps on going.
Oh, and it's amazing for even the businesses that get involved, like the stylist who styles our young people. She's amazing. She just loves being a part of it. The retailers that get involved, the councils that help put on the events, they all tell us that they received so much more than they actually gave.
Yeah, And that comes back to what we were talking about businesses being involved in corporate social responsibility, or as I say, in social mission, because they do get so much out of it, and
Yes.
it gives them that lift in their business, that they've got something more
Yes.
than just the everyday. Yeah. And also it does show one thing that it does make think about, is that being involved in a social mission, especially for a small business, doesn't necessarily have to be about giving money.
Yes, that's right.
It can be about getting involved in an event like this, in an opportunity that comes up to help another organisation, or to help a group of people. They can do that even if they're at the early stages of their business and no money is flowing. There was always something that they can be doing.
Yes, there's always something. Yes.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So Randa, I'll just ask you, if somebody had an idea that they wanted to run with, along the lines of social mission, or getting involved in social mission in their business, what advice would you give them?
I'd ask them to have a look at what their passion is, what they're interested in. And because when you're in alignment, then it's easy. If something that you believe in. So rather than just going for the obvious big charities, which so many people do, think about what you want to be involved in, because it's more than, as we've said, it's more than just about a monetary donation. It's about providing other opportunities, and about believing in that mission. So have a look at what you want to think about daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it is, and then reach out. There are so many people that are working in different spaces. Reach out to people and ask them, what do you need? And see if you can assist in that way. Some of them need help with their social media marketing. Some people need employment. Some people need venues. Some people need assistance at events. So again, it doesn't have to be around money, but and then what you can do is let your consumers know and invite them to join in.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have a relationship with your consumer, and you're recruiting for your passion project.
That's
so
right.
It's just win-win.
It is.
And as I said, the ripple just grows and grows and grows.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. Tap into your mission. Find someone who's doing it. If you want to start your own mission, go ahead if you've got the time. But there's no need to, recreate the wheel. I'm sure you would find somebody out there that's living that purpose every day.
Yeah.
And I come in and speak to businesses about corporate social responsibility and help them try and align themselves to a brand, or find them something and help them with their marketing strategies. My background is marketing. Before Richard came along, I was in corporate marketing in the cosmetics industry. So that's something I can help with, or it's actually not that hard. You can just have a think and start slowly.
Yeah. So it's really getting to that heart of what fills you, which is why I always start with that question of what would you fight for, because in that there is magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yes, and that is my cat, not a baby. If you can hear that, that is my cat.
Sounds very human.
Yes, he is. So if anyone wants to get involved in what you're doing, to be able to assist in any way, or wants to know more about the Autism Mates program, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, Autism Mates has a presence on Facebook and Instagram, so you can connect with me that way.
Yep.
My website is under my name, Randa Habelrih, Randa, Habelrih. That may be a bit tricky, so just type in Autism Mates and you'll find me that way.
Yep. Okay. Well, we'll put a link on the information, and people can get in touch with you, because I'm sure that there are people out there who would want to find out more about this, and they may have children who have autism, or they might have someone in their school who has autism, that they may be able to give them that little bit of confidence after listening to what you've got to say.
That'd be great. I would love to connect with anyone who's interested.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for your time today, Randa. I've really appreciated the opportunity to speak to you, because our missions are very much in alignment. So it's great to connect with someone on this level.
Oh, it was lovely chatting with you, Andrea.
Thank you. And that's our episode for today for the Social Mission Revolution, and we'll be back next week with another Social Mission Revolutionist. This has been the Social Mission Revolution with Andrea Putting. Join me again next week when we'll speak to another Social Mission Revolutionist who will inspire you on your journey to making your ultimate impact on the world.